Good morning. This is the third installment of I've decided to homeschool my kids, now what? The first video was about your why. The second video was about how you teach and your learning style and your kids' learning style. So I hope you watched both those videos to get an idea, but now's the fun part. Now is curriculum. So I'm just gonna kind of review my favorite things. There's so many curriculum reviews online and there's so many places you can research. So I'm gonna try and keep this short and sweet and just talk about what I love and my favorite things. So the first thing I love is morning time. Morning time is where I gather all the kids together. A lot of times they're in their pajamas, wrapped up in their blankets. We sit on the couch and we read together. Some of my kids love to read and they'll sit quietly and they'll listen. Other kids hate it. So if you picture reading together where all your kids are just snuggled up next to you and enjoying the book you're reading, you will be sadly disappointed. Not everyone likes to do that. However, it's still important and it's a great time to connect with your kids and to share great literature. So one of the tricks of the trade is to set a timer. Set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes and dive into one of your books. And you'll find that they'll either be so glad the timer went off or they'll say, no, read more. So one of the things we start with is good literature. And so I'll pick something that we're gonna read for that semester: The Chronicles of Narnia, Anne of Green Gables, Little House on the Prairie, but they can be the Hardy Boys. They can be anything that you think your kids will enjoy reading. This is just a time to connect. We also talk about what our week looks like. I kind of fill everyone in. We talk about things that are happening with our family. We pray together, and we also do our Bible time together. My older kids, I encourage them to do their own Bible time separately, but then we come together and we choose something that we want to read together straight out of the Bible. So that's our morning time. Then a lot of times I'll get started with the stuff we're doing together as a group. So depending on how many kids you have and how many different age groups, and a lot of times that is history. There's so many great history curriculums out there, and I like to mix history and literature. I think that literature, history, and writing can all be one subject, which is why I don't buy big box curriculums where it's asking you to do one subject about one thing for every hour. Your kids will burn out and you'll burn out. If you can kind of mix together some subjects that make the most sense to be together. And for me, I love teaching history, I love teaching literature, and I love teaching writing. So all of those things come together. So when you find a great history curriculum, a lot of times they have writing assignments, they have novel studies that you can add to it. Count that as your history, writing, and literature. So we start that with our morning time. The other thing I like to do with morning time, if they have a journal and if you have a lot of independent writers, if you don't have independent writers, you'll have to do some other things. But this book I picked up at Barnes & Noble, 642 Things to Write About. It has some great writing prompts. And you can put those on a whiteboard, or you can read them to them, or you can copy these prompts, and they have places to write here, and your kids can get a little bit of writing in as well. So that's morning time. We covered a lot of subjects. We covered Bible, literature, writing, and history, all in like an hour of morning time, or less, depending on what you decide to cover. Then we move on to math. I love CTC Math online. It does a lesson, it grades it, it sends you a weekly report on how many times your kids logged in, what they learned, and how well they did. I love that. It's like math is done for me. And then if we get stuck in any of that, there's online tutors. For my younger kids, for math, if we don't want to do online math, oh, all my books just fell. I really like living books. They are actually master books, and they are lessons for a living education. This is Math 4. So last year we did CTC Math, and my girls were wanting worksheets. So I'm gonna do living math with them. And it's a lot of fun. It's a story type math. And so for us literature brains and people who like that, it talks about a little boy and a little girl and their relationship, their brothers and sisters, and how they learn math in the real world. And then it adds in math concepts. So it's a gentle approach to math, a little bit on the Charlotte Mason side, if you've heard of that. And Angela Odell and Kirsten Carlson, they're the authors. They have a history curriculum that's a lot of fun, and they have upper level math as well. The only thing with workbooks and upper level math is you have to grade it the whole time. And so that's why I prefer online math curriculums for my older kids, because I don't have to sit and grade it. You'll find that you kind of run out of time if that's something that you do, where if you're doing the first 5 or 6 grades in math, you're going to know the answers because of your own education. All right, the other thing I got for math for all of us to together, it's called Family Math. I'm really excited about this book. You can work at night when your husband comes home and you can do math together. There's a bunch of games and different things you can do around the dinner table. That's the beauty of homeschooling. You don't have to do it from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can do some in the morning at morning time. You can do some after lunch. If you have little ones that are napping, you can do some at night when your husband comes home, when you're all having dinner together. So it's just kind of it's a black and white book, but you can do games with dice, and I would say that's some of the kids' favorite time is when we just take a day and play games all day. There's money activities, there's charts, counting beans, calculator work. So family math is fun. Bring your husband into your learning and teaching as much as you can. Your kids will really love that part of it. All right, the other thing I like is a company, they put out a lot of blank paper products. It's millerpadsandpaper.com. So we'll just bring that up, Miller. And they're always at the homeschool convention. And so I think this year they're gonna struggle if we don't go online and order stuff, but you can get all of your graphing paper, lined paper, blank maps. This is great for busy work. If you're working with one grade that's younger and your older kids are done and they to do, but you don't want them to walk away and get busy with something else, tell them to label a map. Tell them to label the continents. They have just a lot of things. They have blank make your own games. So millerpaperpads.com. I just want to make sure, millerpadsandpaper.com. Sorry about that. The other thing, one of my favorite things is musical multiplication. A new curriculum came out a couple of years ago called The Good and the Beautiful, and you can find them at thegoodandthebeautiful.com. It kind of reminds me of like a soap opera name, so I never forget it. But The Good and the Beautiful is grown. It's taken off. People just love it, and it's because it's beautiful. It's so, all of the illustrations and the songs and the pictures are so great. So there are these little books, and I like to buy all of their pre-printed stuff. You can buy stuff and print it out yourself, but the pre-printed stuff is so pretty. And so these little cute books, they come with an audio file of all the songs. And so she sings 4 times 4 is 16, and the rhyme goes with trees. And so my girls will listen to these, and this is another great busy work activity. When I'm teaching math to my older kids, I can tell the girls, go put on your headphones, get the iPad, and work on musical multiplication. And so this is just, it's pretty inexpensive. It's a great way to just really set those multiplication facts into your younger kids' brains, or even some of your older elementary school kids' brains. Okay, so the other thing that I really love, and this is going back to math, is teaching textbooks. Teaching textbooks is a great online math curriculum as well. Some history curriculums that I really like and have used before are Sunlight History. Sunlight History is where it's very literature based. You teach Bible, you read your book, your kids read a book on their own. It's pretty big, so I think I got through half in the year that we did it, but we learned so much. You work on a timeline that you put up on the wall. So Sunlight has some great history, and it's your literature as well. So that's it for now as far as my very favorite things. I'll do another video tomorrow on a website that I absolutely love, and I think that you will too, and it's completely free for all grades. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy your curriculum search. Don't get too overwhelmed. Just stick with the basics, the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic.